Ever felt like the Old Testament is a huge, intimidating book you'll never get through? You're not alone. It's massive, full of strange names, epic battles, and laws that can seem, well, a bit weird today. But what if I told you that all 39 books tell one single, unified story? And what if we could cover that entire story, from start to finish, in just a few minutes? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do today. Welcome to our complete animated overview of the Old Testament. Let's start at the very beginning. The first section is called the Pentateuch. The first 5 books, Genesis opens with God creating a beautiful world and placing humans, Adam and Eve, in a perfect garden to enjoy it with him. But they choose their own way, sin enters the world, and humanity spirals downward, leading to a great flood. God saves one family, Noah's, to start over later. God calls a man named Abraham and makes a promise to give him a huge family, a promised land, and to bless the entire world through him. This promise unfolds through his son Isaac and his son Jacob, whose 12 sons become the 12 tribes of Israel. A family feud sells one son, Joseph, into slavery in Egypt. But what was meant for evil, God uses for good. Joseph rises to power and saves his entire family from a famine, bringing them all to live in Egypt. Fast forward for 100 years, the book of Exodus shows us the Israelites are now slaves to the Egyptians. God raises up a leader, Moses, to set them free through 10 epic plagues. God demonstrates his power over Egypt's gods and leads his people out through the Red Sea. At Mount Sinai, God makes a covenant with Israel. He gives them the 10 commandments and instructions for building a tabernacle, a special tent so his holy presence can live among them. This is the heart of the books of Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, God teaching his people how to be holy and live in relationship with him. But the first generation rebels and is forced to wander the desert for 40 years. After Moses dies, Joshua leads the next generation into the promised land. The book of Joshua is full of battles as they conquer the land God had promised to Abraham. But after they settle in, the book of Judges shows a dark and chaotic cycle. Israel forgets God, falls into sin, gets oppressed by their enemies, cries out to God, and God sends a judge or a leader to rescue them. This happens over and over again. It's a messy time, showing that the people need a righteous king to lead them, so they ask for a king. The next section of books, from Samuel to Chronicles, tells the story of Israel's kingdom. Their first king, Saul, starts well but fails. Then comes Israel's greatest king, David. He's a man after God's own heart, a shepherd boy who defeats Goliath and unites the nation. He establishes Jerusalem as the capital and wants to build a permanent temple for God. God promises David that one of his descendants will sit on the throne forever. This is a key promise pointing to a future Messiah. David's son, Solomon, builds the glorious temple and is blessed with incredible wisdom. The books of Psalms, mostly written by David, Proverbs, and Ecclesiastes, mostly from Solomon, are the wisdom literature from this golden age. But after Solomon, power corrupts. His son's foolishness splits the kingdom in two, Israel in the north and Judah in the south. What follows is a long, sad history of mostly bad kings who lead the people into idolatry, worshipping other gods. During this time, God sends prophets, men like Elijah, Isaiah, and Jeremiah to warn the people and call them back to him. They speak of God's justice for sin but also his incredible love and promises of future restoration. Eventually, judgment comes. The northern kingdom of Israel is conquered by Assyria and scattered. About 150 years later, the southern kingdom of Judah is conquered by Babylon. Jerusalem and the beautiful temple are destroyed, and the people are taken into exile. This looks like the end of the story. Has God's promise failed? Not at all. Even in exile, God is at work. The books of Daniel and Esther show us incredible stories of faith and deliverance right in the heart of the enemy's empire. Then, as prophesied, God moves the heart of a Persian king, Cyrus, to let the Israelites go back home. The final books of the Old Testament, like Ezra and Nehemiah, tell the story of their return. They rebuild the temple and the walls of Jerusalem, and they rediscover God's law. The final prophets, like Malachi, call the people to be faithful as they wait for God's ultimate promise to be fulfilled. And that's where the Old Testament ends. It's a story of creation, fall, redemption, and promise. It sets the stage perfectly, leaving everyone in hopeful expectation for the promised king, the descendant of David, who will finally come to rescue his people and restore God's kingdom on earth. The entire story points forward to someone, and that's the story the New Testament picks up. Thanks for watching. If this helped you see the big picture of the Old Testament, hit that like button and subscribe for more animated summaries. See you next time.